All right, guys, and we're back. So here I'm just going to be continuing working on the model. So sometimes this can take quite a while. So what we can do is kind of maybe do some large chunks and then subdivide those to where they'll fit maybe a little bit, or maybe go a little bit quicker. So something like that. And then just go in and just kind of smooth it out every once in a while. And the random baby appears. We got 2 tries here. I'm actually going to run a edge here, and that's going to turn these 2 tries into 2 quads. Perfect. Okay. So we could have a quad that goes right down the center here. But like I said, I like to have a pretty clean edge. So I'm actually going to go ahead and delete that face right there. And I'm basically going to do the corner to corner method where I add the extra vertice, and then end up running the edge loop back up through here. So this is not bad. It's getting a little stretchy though, but honestly, it might be okay. But I think I'd rather have it kind of not stretch the topology that much. So that's a try. Again, run an edge loop between the two. So it kind of quads it off, which is great. this is a pretty shallow plate, so I'm just kind of putting a bunch of faces on top of it. A little tricky. There we go. Okay. Just kind of have to have a little bit of patience. It'll go in. Yeah, a lot of trouble though. You can always move the edges and then just kind of move them back. There we go. There we go. Something like that. There we go. That one. Okay. Sometimes just kind of rotating the camera around makes it go a little bit easier. So these little narrow areas can be really tricky. What I do is just do really. There we go. So I'm gonna take this. I'm just gonna make like an extra quad. I'm just going to snap it, just like that. Gosh, that's just so close. I think I'm just gonna snap it down, just to make things just a little bit simpler. There we go. Filled in, filled in. There you go. All right, and big old square right there. Okay, so honestly, me doing the rest of this is just a lot of the same of what I was just doing before. So let's talk about kind of maybe finishing up some parts. It might be a little bit trickier for you. So, you know, it might be getting down to the feet and wonder, okay, well, what do you do? So since this guy has essentially holes where the claws go into, where the way I modeled it is just nubs. And that's what you would do. You would just go and close off the nubs. And I would just go ahead and close them off with a square, you know, cube. And then just try to basically have the end of the foot just kind of quad off as best you can. When it gets to a place that you're not able to see, it's not maybe as vital that it looks pretty. But as long as you can get it to kind of just fill in the holes, so to speak, you're probably just gonna be better off anyways. So it's not a huge deal. So got a little try there. I'll probably end up with another try somewhere. One thing you do want to try to avoid is spiraling. Sometimes as you're going around, you may end up getting into a spiral pattern. And so just try to avoid that as best as possible. So there's another try right there. It's not really a huge deal. None of that's going to be visible anyways, because that's going to be underneath the foot anyhow. So no one's going to see that. Okay. What else? What else? Okay. The eye, same idea. We would want to close that off as best as possible. So usually I would start off with a quad right here. So something like that. Just throwing in some edge loops. Try to keep it as organized as I can. Just like that. And then start attaching faces to one another as the opportunity presents itself. And then some of these more complex areas, we may end up needing to run edges into each other or through, into other places, which is fine. We'll just, do it as we need to. So here, I'm actually going to run up, back, and down. So adding these two extra edges or vertices basically presents 3 quads, and then basically we get this edge that flows up into here and then back down. So that's useful for us. This one is going to be flowing up into here somewhere. So I will take this piece, I'll throw an edge into here, and then quad that off to where we get this to go in. And we'll find a way to tie this off somewhere in here. Okay, it worked out really well. So now I have two quads coming in from a triangle. Now I just got to deal with this. Again, this is very much just like a puzzle. It's just something that takes a little bit of time and effort to kind of figure out and play around with. I would definitely give yourself at least 2 hours, 2 to 4 hours maybe to work on this. Your first attempt's not going to look great. I wouldn't expect it to, but give yourself enough time to kind of play around with it and see if you can get it to work. So we'll do that. There we go. So now we have a couple tries, But, you know, these are, again, these are hidden areas that are not going to be vital places. So see, as I'm smoothing this out, we can maybe fit an extra edge loop or two into here. Run a few extra edges wherever I can, places that make sense to run the edge. So something like that. Okay. So that same tactic would be used for the back feet. It would be used for the tips of the tail, and then, you know, same thing for the shell will be used for the rest of this. And like I said, in a weird way, this does kind of end up turning into a little bit of a game. So, all right. So next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the completed retopologized mesh, and this can be either from ZBrush or Maya, depending whichever way you go about it. And honestly, I don't really care which way. It's whatever way you feel more comfortable with to do the retopologization. You just need to make sure that you get it done in one way or another. You may find, you know, you may honestly try it with Maya this time, try it with ZBrush for the next assignment and see which way you kind of feel a bit more comfortable with. But you do have to get it done for these projects. So anyway, so you'll take the final piece and then put it back into ZBrush. One last thing I do want to address is, let's say you get done and you're finished. Obviously, you don't want to have any gaping holes in this. This guy is full of gaping holes. But one thing we didn't really talk about is what do you do with the mouth? Because the mouth, you know, depending on how you sculpted the creature, you might have the character with a sculpted mouth that's actually open. So like this mouth actually was sculpted open, but you may have a character who has a mouth that is sculpted closed. So how do you handle that? How do you, what do you do with this? Because we need the characters to be able to open their mouths and talk. So when you're retopoing, if you have a character that has a sculpted mouth that is closed, we can actually input or create that open cavity pretty easily. And so what we can do is go ahead and take this edge. I'm going to go ahead and just turn off live surface because I don't want it to screw anything up. And I'm just going to grab the edge that goes inside the mouth. I'm going to go hit Control E. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of extrude the mouth in. Okay. I'm going to Control E again. And I'm just going to move it out. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to model the interior mouth bag, sac of the mouth, your esophagus, your interior of mouth, all of that. That's all going to be modeled by you. And we're just using polygonal modeling tools at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and use like soft select and make sure we turn off volume, make sure I just want on surface. Let's move that down. And this is, you know, kind of like a puppet. I mean, it's not just kind of, it is a puppet. We're making puppets. But you would want this whole mouth to essentially have a finishing point. It would have to cap off somewhere. So depending on, you know, what your needs are for the rig, it may literally just be like a Cookie Monster or a Kermit, where it just caps off, you know, the back of the mouth and that's it. You may need something a little bit more detailed. You may need to have like, you know, an esophagus or a uvula. You know, you may need to have some structures in there that are, you know, a little bit more anatomically correct. My son apparently wants to play with a box and not the toy the box came packaging. I find that hilarious. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of, let's try to turn off Object X. There we go. I'm just going to start closing off that mouth. And let's just go and just do the fill hole. And, you know, same thing as before, we're always going to be focusing on quads. You don't want this giant end-gon, which that's exactly what this is. So we'll do multi-cut and we'll quad it off. It may seem kind of crazy to quad off something this complex, but it is absolutely not crazy. Turn on symmetry and we'll just start quadding this baby off. So you'll see I'm kind of doing almost like a tic-tac-toe pattern here. I'm just kind of going, you know, across and over. And now we got this one right here I'm going to have to deal with. Okay. So I need to take care of that extra edge. So I'm doing the corner to corner method. So that means I'm going over. There we go, corner to corner. That's what I call it that. All right. And I got to deal with this. Do the same thing again. There we go. And that should be all of it. And just go through, check, and make sure everything's quadded. I don't see any extra edges. I think we're good. All right, cool. So one thing I want to do is just kind of smooth this out just a little bit. For this particular model, I don't have any teeth. I don't have a tongue. I don't have anything like that. So it's not, you know, nothing too crazy. You may end up having, you know, having to model teeth and tongue, depending on what, you know, what we're doing. But I do want to smooth this out. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Mesh Tools, Sculpting. I'm going to go Smooth. And actually, I need to turn on double-sided lighting. There we go. And Just make sure my brush isn't too small or too big. Okay. I'm doing just really light taps on this because I really just want to smooth out the back of the mouth. I'm not trying to really do anything too crazy. Okay, there we go. All right, great. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and throw in a couple extra edge loops. The reason why I'm doing this is because when the character opens his mouth, it needs to have some flexibility in the mouth sac. Otherwise, when you open the mouth, it gets really kind of wonky. And then also, I'm going to take this edge loop and I'm just going to go and bevel it. So when we hit smooth, it actually reinforces that lip line. Okay? Okay, cool. All right. Go and save. Make sure you save often. And that's pretty much it for retopologizations. It takes time. It can be a bit tedious. I would find some good music to listen to while you're doing this. And before you know it, you'll be finished. So I'll see you back in ZBrush.